Yo, what up, YouTube? Enthusiasts, haters, and casual viewers. You are here because either you love electric motorcycles or you hate them. Well, welcome to episode 1 of Skeptical Electrical. I think this episode is going to be called Static Electricity. I know, it's a clever pun. Please hold your applause. Anyway, I feel like, let's start with the fact that I now have 11,012 miles on Max. Trusty Max has been with me on adventures and boring commutes, etc. for 11,000 miles now. So I feel like it's okay for me to talk about some of the frustrations. Yes, some of the frustrations of being an electric motorcycle owner. Because I feel like I have a fair amount of videos ranting and raving about all the reasons why they're awesome. But here is some of the reasons why I feel like electric motorcycles need to step their game up. The title Static Electricity is because I feel like right now the world of electric motorcycles is kind of stagnant, right? So a couple of years ago or whatever, they were all like hyped up and like, hey, this is going to be a new thing and we're awesome and blah blah. But as of right now, I feel like there's not really a whole lot going on. And what I mean is, Zero is still making a ton of bikes, which is cool. Good for Zero. Alta Motors is up and coming. They're selling a bunch of them, I guess, which is pretty cool. But, I mean, both of them have been around long enough that it's like, okay, yeah, we get it. And, especially after riding the Alta, it was kind of like, well, wasn't really super impressive. And, I don't know, I mean, just not really a whole lot happening right now. Like, Lightning LS218, or Lightning in general, like really hyped themselves up and broke a lot of records and all of that stuff. So kudos to them. But I still feel like, in my opinion, and I'm only one person, that really doesn't matter, so try not to get too offended over this, but I feel like Lightning isn't a production bike. Like, they just haven't really been selling any. And I mean, if you ask Lightning, they'll probably tell you they have, but I don't know of any private owners out there. So, I mean, if you own a Lightning, or if you've known somebody that you ran into, like at a meet or whatever, let me know. Put in the comments. Send me some stuff, whatever. But I don't really feel like Lightning is a production bike. I mean, they made a few, I guess, but can't really buy them, I don't think. I haven't really seen evidence of that. So there's that. I mean, I'm just saying that they've done really awesome things with the bike themselves, but I don't feel like they're contributing to the market of electric motorcycles. And then there's Energica. Anyway, they seem like a pretty legit company. They have this race series that supposedly is coming out and all that stuff. But they have so few dealers in the United States of America that I don't really know like how many of these things are selling, right? So here's my beef with that, and I'm just saying that for me, if I wanted to buy one, the closest dealer is California, and Washington and California is like a lot of different miles. So I don't know that it's a feasible option for me, which is like boohoo, right? Panaro doesn't get an Energica, but I did reach out to them via email several times, and it's been, gosh, I don't know, probably a month since the first time I tried to reach out, and still haven't heard a single word from them. When I was talking to a local Yamaha dealer over in Lacey, Washington, I kind of pitched the idea of them becoming an Energica dealer. So they reached out through like the dealer contact portal thing, and they haven't heard back yet, and it's been a couple of weeks. So I don't know what Energica's problem is. don't want any money, I guess. And so I mean, it's just that, you know, there's not a whole lot happening. I was like, oh my god, I gotta go for my clutch. No, I don't. Anyway, there's just not a whole lot happening, and so tons and tons of people are talking about concept bikes, and we're gonna make the cool thing, and we're gonna be awesome, but that doesn't really do anything for us because they're not being sold. So whatever, right? And then the aftermarket world is nearly non-existent. I believe Hollywood Electrics has R&D'd a few pieces, so that's pretty sweet. But on the whole, I mean, it's not really ramping up. You know, it's not taking off and adding a whole lot of excitement or availability for a lot of things that we want to do. So I don't know if it's because Zero was essentially making a commuter motorcycle, so they don't, you know, a whole lot of people are not jumping on that bandwagon like, oh, we got to make exciting stuff for it. It's just a commuter. I don't know. I have no idea. But we want cool things for our bikes, right? So DigiNow makes their superchargers, and they've upgraded their control boards to the 2.5, and they're trying to manufacture those and stuff. So that's cool. That's legit. But it's still on the upswing, man. I mean, there's been some complications with you know, me adopting the DigiNow superchargers and stuff, and they're still working with me. So thumbs up on that. And hopefully they succeed and they come out on top and offer a whole lot more products for electric motorcycle owners, because that would be a big push. But as of right now, it's a little bit of a struggle. It is. And then that kind of brings me around to the big hurdle, is the infrastructure, right? I could put 1 million chargers on my bike, but I'd still need to plug it in somewhere. And I don't know, man, there's like not a whole lot of support on the infrastructure end. And I'll give you an example, right? So I'm like located near Olympia, Washington, which is the capital of Washington State, if some of you are not aware. And if I wanted to ride down to Mount St. Helens, the infrastructure just doesn't support it. Like, I could not ride to the highest observatory on Mount St. Helens and then back down to the nearest charger, right? So if I stop and I charge along the way, that's totally fine until I get to the very last charger that is publicly available for a J port station. I should specify a J station, the J1772, which is what the Nissan Leafs use. If I was to stop at that last charger and top all the way off, I would not realistically be able to ride from that last charger all the way up the mountain to the highest observatory, and then all the way back down to that charger. And so I mean, you know, if I want to go on a group ride with my buddies, one of two things is going to happen. Either they're going to have to alter their route dramatically to allow for this charging to happen, or we're just not going to go to Mount St. Helens, right? I mean, so there's that. I mean, there's like that dynamic where if you are the only electric motorcycle in the group, you become the burden, right? And everybody else has to plan around you, and nobody wants that. That's some bull. So anyway, yeah. So you know, there's again, the title is static electricity, because the market, or the electric motorcycle market has lost a lot of momentum, right? Manufacturers are not pumping out new bikes. You look at Harley Davidson there. Finally, you know, they say they've committed to making the live wire as a 2019 model. Good for them. Hopefully they follow through. I think that would help push a lot of adoption, because, you know, I mean, Harley Davidson, a lot of people are gonna like freak out and be like, oh my god, it's electric, it's not a real Harley. But for those that do adopt it, I mean, I feel like the Harley world has enough crazy people, right? And I mean that in a loving way, so please don't come murder me. But I honestly, like, you guys do some pretty crazy stuff with your Harleys, and a lot of custom bikes to this and that. So when the Harley guys start messing around with the live wire and start making some badass piece of machinery, I think it's gonna do a lot to push things forward. But is that gonna happen? I don't know, because Harley had this whole Project Livewire thing for a few years now, and I'll believe it when I see it, I suppose. The aftermarket world, we need more companies supporting the electric motorcycle market. So I don't know if it's because maybe they feel there's not a whole lot to modify on electric motorcycles, or maybe they feel like it's not going to take off or whatever, but manufacturers aren't doing enough. Aftermarket companies haven't even really done anything, really. And then I should rephrase that. I should say aftermarket companies that currently exist for gas bikes have taken no interest in the aftermarket for electric motorcycles. That's what I should have said. But, you know, again, we have Hollywood Electric and DigiNows in our corner, trying to at least start the movement. So everybody else needs to join in on that. And then the infrastructure, and that's the big one, right? Because, like I said, if you have this really awesome bike, let's even say we had the Lightning LS218, which I believe charges on CHAdeMO, right? Or, you know, the Energeca, which charges on CCS. Forgive me if that's not accurate. I mean, there's not a whole lot of stations to use right now, and it's defeating. It's defeating because you could go out and spend all this money on a pretty badass electric bike and then still be charging really slowly because you can't use the high-speed DC charging. Oh, and I'm glad I said DC charging, because more bikes need to offer that from the factory. All right? Because DC charging is kind of like, I don't know, if you've watched like any form of motorsports where there's a pit stop and the dude comes running up in the pit crew and he slams that special race fuel tank on the car, and it's got like this really quick feed and it just dumps like gallons of gas in a matter of seconds. That's kind of like what a DC charger would do for your motorcycle ish. You know, I'm just kind of trying to paint a very loose translation here. Whereas AC, mostly, especially the 110, oh Jesus Christ, okay, when you plug that in, that's like using a regular gas pump versus this race fuel system that just kind of dumps all this. So basically, if more bikes that were readily available, and especially I'm going to use the word affordable, had DC fast charging, I think that'd be a big help. But anyway, I think those are the three main topics for now. We're going to keep it short because I like to ramble, and we're going to avoid that. Infrastructure, major key component that needs to improve. The aftermarket would be awesome and amazing if more people started offering things. And manufacturers, man, they need to start giving us more models and variety and, you know, more competition, because competition is the driving force of the United States of America. That's the world, man. What you talking about? Competition, you know, progression and all that stuff. It's good. It's right. It's good. It's good. Don't get complacent, yo. You know what I'm saying? Keep us happy, keep us excited, keep us driving for the next best thing. All right, so there you go. Those are the topics of my frustration after owning the bike for 11,000 miles. It's like a magic number. Anyway, so thank you. Please comment, question, whatever. And I guess the current trend on YouTube is, if you've enjoyed this video, please press the like button. And if you're not already subscribed, you gotta help me, man. I wanna help the channel grow, so stick around. All right, peace out, peoples.